Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 41 of this series. It has been a little bit, and I've gotten a fair bit of work done. As you can see, the industrial district, for now, is ready to go. I do want to. I've got a couple other things that I do want to add at some point, but I want to get the farms in first. But yeah, I've got quite a bit done, including, which I actually really like, the big windows. I do still have to do some of the terraforming outside. I have not even put a dent in that yet. Well, aside from a little bit while I was running around putting the windows in. But that's gonna be something I'll just do in little sections off camera when I have some extra time, because I'm still playing catch up. Unfortunately, because we have had a heat wave here, and it has meant that I am just not recording for the past few days, which is annoying because I really needed to do that, but it's fine. We're all fine. We've got it covered. It's fine. But yes, so I've gotten the towers, including their interior actual blocks to make them usable, done. So we'll start over here. We've got staircases that lead up because I quite liked how the borders were flat. Oh, I also ended up adding blackstone stairs and slabs in varied types all the way around. And I think it looks a hell of a lot better than it did before. Even though it's not basalt, it still looks quite good. But yes, so we got the stairs and we come into this area here, and I should probably put lights on the stairs. Let me do that real quick. But yes, so like I mentioned before, the towers are going to be used for mass storage mainly. So like all of that sand that is up there in the chests that don't want to load, where are they? Come on. There they are. All of those chests with sand in them are going to be like transferred into here. Same with cobblestone, same with whatever we have a fuck ton of, because we can't store it at base. The other use of the also, I went with archways over doors because I preferred it. I might add gates, or I might just not, because we shouldn't have any spawns in unwanted areas here. But yeah, I decided on using, like I mentioned before, I used dark oak with spruce wood for the floor. We've used it plenty of times before, and I quite like it. It also adds a nice contrast to the white walls. We used strip dark oak for the central spiral staircase pillar, and ended up using copper slabs and stuff because I quite liked it. I felt it looked quite nice. It gives us a different colored dark. Prismarine felt a little bit too dark, and we wouldn't have been able to get the variation of the, I believe it's like moderately aged copper slabs in here. But as we come upstairs, also, I didn't have to mine any more copper. I just used all of the stuff that we gathered while we were flattening this land. We still have a little bit left. Iron, on the other hand, that was a bit annoying, because if you're not familiar with the block that I've used there, it is the smithing table, which takes 2 iron per block. And we were already low on iron. But I like the color, I like the look, I like the feel of it, so I went with it. But I did have to go and get quite a bit of iron. We still have a little bit, but again, an iron farm is something that we just flat out need at this point. But I use spruce trapdoors for the railing. Through here, you can get out onto the walkway here, which I am probably going to put like a canopy over this part. But for now, we're just going to leave it as is because I can't think of a canopy design. But when I do, I'll add it. I will also go through and light this up eventually. But yes, so the other use of the towers was to be, if we were to arrive by water, we have a way in. And that's what these little things are. These little sort of dock balcony type things. And under the water, I used a mix of fences and actually signs to make it look like they're actually affixed to the wall, which I quite liked. We also used smothered campfires or whatever you want to call them for the roof, because again, they look quite nice. But yes, so all of the towers are like this. The diagonal towers have a little bit of difference, but it's just like in the way that, let me show you. So like with that one, I could put signs all over. With this one, because of the shape, I couldn't. Like, I can't put a sign there because if I put it there, I won't be able to put one there, and so on and so forth. Why are you like that? You shouldn't be like that. There we go, that's better. But yeah, interior is basically the same. It's just the archways are slightly different and everything is just a little bit different. But otherwise, exact same block palette, exact same reasoning, staircase, again, a little bit different, but exact same block palette. But yes, with the windows, I am glad that I went with the deep slate because I got to add those walls, which I quite like, and I think they look quite nice. I also like the use of the cyan, because it goes very well with these little quote-unquote wall decorations and eventually the crystals, which, as I've mentioned before, I'm not going to do the crystals until I've figured out how or even if I'm going to do a main central tower. To do that, I need to get some of the farms in place. But I went with deep slate, good old classic mixture for the border of the little wall pieces and the windows. I used walls to help split up the windows so they weren't just one solid block, and I used a mixture of the concrete powder, warped wart, and concrete for the wall decorations. There's 2 on the diagonals, 1 on the cardinal, because cardinal directions is like the flat ones. Can I actually use cardinal in that context? I want to find that out. Cardinal directions. Northeast, south, and west. Yes. Yeah. The 4 cardinal directions. Yes. Okay, so the cardinal towers have 1 on them. The diagonal towers have 2. That's just how things were. But yes. So I do still have to do a little bit of clearing up. Like this fence post is still here. This stair's still here. The boards at the top are still here. That's still there. I haven't filled in the floor there. But that's all by design. That reminds me where the entrance to the stronghold is. That reminds me where the geode is. That's going to take a lot of time and effort, and I don't want to do it yet. Which is, I think, just as reasonable as it being an important marker. But what we are going to do this episode is we are going to get started on the Guardian Farm. Because once the Guardian Farm's in place, because the Guardian Farm has to go here. Whereas an Iron Farm, I can put anywhere. So it's very much the get the Guardian Farm in, because that is the one farm, aside from like the Slime Farms and the Amethyst Farm, that has a specific location. And we already have this one marked out. We don't have the Slime Farms marked out yet. So yes, so we are going to get to work on a Guardian Farm. It will definitely include clearing out that, clearing out that, clearing out this. So I will probably need to go and get some concrete on hand. Yeah, I'm gonna go and get everything. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm really liking these windows. Especially with the shaders. Like, that just looks cool. But yes, I'm going to go and get everything that we need, hopefully, for a Guardian Farm. And we are going to get started on that. And hopefully, we can get, at the very least, the mechanics done in one episode. I doubt we'll do the pretty-ishness of it in one episode, but we're going to get the mechanics side of it in one episode. That, hopefully, maybe. Actually, don't hold me to that, because the storage system might take a little bit of time. But yes, I will, we'll get started on that. Okay, so for the first time in a while, we are making a farm. In terms of palette, I'm just using a base palette of deep slate tiles and light blue glass. I'm going to make it look better at another episode. I was very focused on making sure that it actually worked in this episode, and then I can trim it up next episode. But when with deep slate and light blue, they work together quite well, and I do have plans to put some copper in there. Now, what we've done here is we have laid out the base of the tanks and the drop. We're now building them up to 2 below sea level, because that's, you know, height of Guardian spawn and everything. Now, as you will see, in a few minutes, there's going to be a bit of cut. And then all of a sudden, this farm's going to be back a bit. That's because I did some more research into the how Guardians spawn, and it's anywhere within the 58 by 58 area of the Ocean Monument. Which means it doesn't have to be in the center. Which means I can put my tower there. So the central tower idea for being like the main like collection point for everything is still a go. When exactly I'm going to make that tower, I'm not too sure. I want to get some more farms done first, like the iron farm, because we are very low on iron, because I decided to use smithing tables for ceilings. Wasn't a smart move. I had to get over 1,000 iron, I think. It was a ridiculous number. But yes, as you can see, we are filling in the sides of the glass with the sides of the glass, the sides of the tank with glass. You don't have to, but it helps you visually see that the farm is working, which is always helpful. But you don't have to. You can use any block. That's really not an issue. Now, as you'll see here, I don't take that glass all the way up, and I don't put a border across the top. That is because, as you will see on this tank, what we're going to do is put a row of glass panes there, and then eventually we will just put the roof flat over the top, 1 block higher, because we need a 1 block gap for the Guardians to float through. So the way to work is the Guardians will go up, and then float over the glass panes and down. If everything works correctly, which it does kind of. But we'll get to that kind of in a second. So yeah, so as you can see, we put in the glass panes. We will eventually be waterlogging those. For those of you unfamiliar with the idea of waterlogging, certain blocks aren't a full block, like a slab or a stair. You can still put water in that block, and it's called waterlogging. You can do it with leaves, you can do it with fences, you can do it with walls, I believe, yes. But yes, so here we're building a sub-chamber. So what happens is the Guardians spawn in the big tank. They get pushed up, they float over the bit of glass panes, they go into the sub-tank, there's going to be water streams from either side, pushing them into another sub-tank, which has water streams pushing them down into a kill chamber. The reason we do this is so that we can centralize them, because we're using 2 tanks. If we were doing 1, we could just lift them up and drop them. We're not. We're doing 2 tanks. And they also need to be placed this far apart because, I don't know, fucking spawning some shit, I don't know. But yeah, so we then go fill in the glass for the rest of this area. And yes, as you've noticed, we have now moved back. Yes, so we start building up the what will be the, I guess, pitfall. It takes a little bit to get the actual like placement of all the blocks right, just because it's I'm quote unquote watching a quote unquote I'm watching a quote unquote tutorial by Iskall85, and I will leave a link to that video in the description. Issue is, it's one of his Hermitcraft videos, not an actual tutorial. So I'm having to sift through that and then pause it and look and try and figure out exactly where things need to go. It's good, it's working brilliantly, and it's still fairly easy to follow, and the concept like work is also very easy to follow. It's just every now and again I had to pause it to make sure I had everything placed right. But yes, as you can see, we are now putting in fence gates. These are there so that the water doesn't flow past where we need it to. We only want the water to flow to the edge of the drops so that it doesn't like push the guardians down or like mess up any of the water flow down there. Now, as you can see, I did have some copper blocks in that shulker box. I do plan on adding some copper detailing, but again, we're not going to worry about that until we've got the guardian farm working. Next episode, we can worry about making it look good. But yes, so we put on the roof of Deep Slate. Now, what I probably should have done before this is put in, as you will see, I need to put a layer of half slabs at the same level as the top of the glass panes are, and then I need to waterlog them. It would have been a hell of a lot easier to do that with the roof off, and if you're doing this yourself, I highly recommend that you don't put the roof on until you've got the water sorted. It wasn't difficult because we had an elytra and I was able to essentially just crawl. Made things a lot easier. As you can see here. Yes. We then needed to start digging out the cool chamber. We had to go down to, we needed to place the hoppers at Y19 so that the fall was far enough for the guardians to die. The collection system needs a bit of work, but that's fine. Again, that's going to be next episode where we make it look nice. Ish. As nice as we can try and make it, you know? There I did dig out what I planned to be one of the ways up or down. However, I changed it to these two spots that I'm digging out now because they were more symmetrical and better laid out and they look nicer, yada yada yada. Not really, you can put them wherever the fuck you like, doesn't matter. This is just, I liked how they look. Yeah. Now this did take me a little bit, getting the water all the way up, but I did get there eventually, and we then got some kelp placed through that, so it's all source blocks, which means it functions as a bubble elevator, which is very, very helpful, and definitely not the last one we will make for this farm, because while it doesn't have any redstone, it has a fuck ton bubble elevators, which means a fuck ton of kelp. It was interesting to say the least. Yes, as you could see, we've set up a basic collection system. This will be heavily expanded, but for now this does just fine. And also wall it in a little bit, but I do end up going and walling it in a bit more. Now we replace the floor of the tanks with soul sand because we need to place kelp on them so that the entire tank is essentially one big bubble elevator. So that when the Guardians spawn, they are just shot up and over the edge, down, and pushed in and down again, and pushed down the kill chamber. And yeah, as you can see, this is the part that I would recommend doing before you put the roof on, because otherwise you've got to crawl around and you've got to be very careful with water flow and making sure you yourself don't fall down into the kill chamber. Yes, so I then start putting in the what do you call it? I then start putting in the water sources. As you can see, we have two on either side pushing them into the central chamber, and then another two in the sub chambers pushing them into their respective sub chambers. Tanks, chambers, same thing. Kind of. Within reason. But yeah, fence gates is keeping the water away, which is great. So here, I went about waterlogging the slabs. This is to make sure that the entire tank is filled with water. I originally did this using a handful of buckets, however I realized because the area that I have to cover is 10 wide, if I use 5 buckets, I can go from one side to the other, and that way I don't have to pay as much attention to it. Which is very helpful because I really, yeah, it was very helpful because I recorded this and built this farm ridiculously late at night. So not having to count underwater every single block that I placed was very, very helpful. Now, I'd originally try and do 10, but that was just inefficient because I had to shuffle them over and then I forgot where exactly I've got it up to. Granted, I could have used the same logic, I realized that now, but at the time I realized, it's 10 blocks. You might as well just go to 5 and then just go back and forth. Either way, it worked. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Not a good idea to do this after putting the roof on. Definitely do this before you put the roof on. Without a shadow of a doubt. But yes, as you can see, we go about placing a bunch of kelp, and then we help build it up. So that it's all water source blocks and the entire thing is a bubble elevator. Okay, so that is an issue. Now, theoretically, this should be working just fine. And I don't think it's necessarily the location, because I put down a little pot of water here to see if they would spawn. Actually, they're not going to spawn as much if there's a Let's try and do this properly, shall we? See if it actually is. Because they don't seem to be spawning, regardless. They're not spawning in there. Go away a bit. They're not spawning in there, it doesn't seem. But that is the design. That is how it will look. As soon as I can figure out how to get it working. God, you deal with one problem, there's another. Alright, let's just go like all the way over to the other side. Give it a minute and then head back over and see if it fixes itself. Because it might just be because I'm in that area a lot. It doesn't want to spawn them. So let's... Oh boy. Well, I don't think that's how Guardians work, right? Oh. Did I just see a... It works. Oh, yeah, okay. Right, I was correct then. It's something to do with it's distance or entity or something. The only thing that would change is we would take out that cobblestone slab layer and then yeah, because that's spawning a load of fish. We don't want it to spawn fish. We want to spawn guardians. But yes, so one thing that we will have to go in and do is just take out that top layer of slabs. Actually, let's go do that now, because I have another hypothesis. In that having the slabs there is causing an issue. So let's go clear those now. Okay, so they can definitely spawn in there. It's just the frequency that they're spawning at that we need to fix. And also maybe fix the frequency of fish spawning. Because we don't need fish, we need guardians. It's guardian farm, not fish farm. Fish is a nice byproduct, but I can get that anyway from... There's a second guardian. I can get it anyway from guardians. Okay, I'm honestly just happy that it's fucking working. Like, oh boy. How can I... There we go. Okay. Good. Good. And yep. They are indeed just getting pushed over, which is exactly what's supposed to happen. How the fuck did you get up here? Or whatever. I need to go from this way down. Back, even. I need to know where my gap is. So we'll basically just need to break that one manually, and then boop. Okay, so that is at least one of these two chambers working. How are we doing? In terms of spawns. Honestly, not that great. Let's check down here. I'm sure that it's... Ah, boy, it's outside the collection range. But it is... Hey, you know what? It's working. We're getting there. I'm going to troubleshoot this off camera at some point. And I will get to the bottom of it. Figure out why it's being so... Maybe it's just a little bit slow without the second... Nah, that's not a good idea. Maybe it's just a bit slow without the second spawner there. Just gonna try and make it so that it won't throw the parts everywhere. Which one did that go into? Front one. Okay, so it is working. That's good. I was worried that it wasn't working there for a second. It's just we're getting a lot of fish as well as guardians, which is an issue. Guardians don't have enough time. Alright, I'll troubleshoot that off camera, and I will also get the second side up and running. It's literally the exact same thing we did with that side, just on this side. But hey, it works, which means I can put a tower in the center with a crystal. So I'm pretty hyped for that. Well, yes. We have got, I think for the first time ever, we have got all of the mechanics of a farm and a lot of the prettiness of it done in one episode. That might be a record. But yes, thank you all for watching this somewhat problem heavy episode with the 7 million. It's like, oh, I'll run out of this, run out of that, need more of that than I thought, but regardless. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.